call to order the Bedford Township Board of Zoning Appeals regular meeting for April 3rd. Director, if you would, it's been a while since I've done this. When we do this, we'll introduce the members and representatives. We'll start with the word over here.
Jody Rector, Planning and Zoning.
Bill Goldsmith, Township Attorney.
Katrina Ingram, Planning and Zoning.
Miss Kohler, Building Inspector.
Brad Helm, Planning Representative.
Jake Lake, BZA Vice Chair.
Jeff Wilson, BZA Alternate.
Don Strick, Alternate.
Joe Gore, Trustee Representative.
All right, so we'll stand for the pledge. Okay. Next, we'll do a roll call now, Ms. Rector, if you would.
Yes. Mr. Gore.
Here.
Mr. Strick. Here. Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mr. Helm.
Here.
Mr. Lake.
Here.
All present.
All right, next we'll do approval of the agenda for tonight. I'll look for a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Approving the agenda right now.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
None opposed. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes of our February 6th meeting for anyone that was present at that meeting. If you would care to make a motion.
Now I'll make the motion to approve the minutes for the February 6, 2023 meeting.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. We'll move on to new business. First, we'll have a public hearing regarding the appeal of the Lambertville United Methodist Church, requesting a variance to allow an extension of a previous approval for a temporary use for a farmer's market. So I'll look for a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to open a public hearing.
I'll second.
All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
All right, none opposed. Ms. Rector, if you would.
Yes, this is the farmer's market. They have a temporary use at Lambertville United Methodist Church, 8165 Douglas Road. The Lambertville United Methodist Church, as the property owner, is permitting the farmer's market to seek approval for a temporary market use on the church property located on the southwest corner of Dean Road and Douglas Road. The farmer's market was first granted approval for this location from the BZA on May 2nd of 2016, on April 3rd, 2017, with a 12-month extension for 2018. On March 4th, 2019, the BZA granted a temporary use with an additional approval through 2020. And on April 5th of 2021, the BZA granted an approval with a 12-month extension until 2022. All approvals were conditioned upon no complaints or incidents and a submitted approval letter from the church to allow the continued use on the property. This event has taken place on the church property for all these years with no complaints, incidents, or expressed concerns, with the approval from the church to utilize the property for the use. For the board, Bedford Township Zoning Ordinance, Section 400.2204C, Number 7, Letter F, the BZA shall seek the review and recommendation of the Planning Commission prior to taking of any action. However, considering this same request went before the Planning Commission on 2 previous occasions, minus the BZA, which granted for the extensions for the site, and no changes are being proposed to the plan or the layout that was previously reviewed and recommended to approve support for the use from the church, it was determined the Planning Commission's previous recommendations are valid. The farmers market representative, Mr. Bob Potter, provided a letter dated March 8, 2023, confirming the setup, policy, and procedures that have taken place in the past seasons, and those are planned for the upcoming season. Mr. Potter's letter references seeking a multi-year extension for 2023. However, the ordinance provides for a 12-month extension, thus 2 years. A letter of permission to continue the use on the property for 2023 has been submitted from the Lambertville United Methodist Church, dated March 7th of 2023. Should the board's desire to grant an additional year, a letter shall be required from the church to continue the use in 2024 without any changes. It should be noted the hours of operation are every Saturday starting May 1st, ending October 30th, 2023 from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and on Wednesday evening starting May 26th, ending October 27th of 2023 from 4 to 8. As noted in the submitted letter, the Wednesday hours did not operate in 2022. However, the farmers market is considering adding that day again this year, thus the request to include Wednesdays. The previous approved plot plan is included in your packet for your convenience. The Bedford Farmers Market has stated in their letter they will continue to comply with all applicable COVID-19 related safety measures to protect their customers, church personnel, and market vendors. As a reminder, the church and the farmers market representatives have discussed those occasions where an unplanned event may be in conflict with the market setup, and both have agreed there may be required adjustments should that occasion occur. As well, the Township Board granted a fee waiver for this application on 3/21/2023, and we included those unofficial minutes from the Township Board. And the applicant is here for any additional comments.
All right, we have a representative of the applicant, Mr. Potter. Please state your name and address for the record. If there's any questions for Mr. Potter.
Hi, everybody. Bob Potter, 1518 West Temperance Road. And I'm representing the church and the farmers market. I don't really have anything to add from what Jody had indicated, other than we've had this arrangement with the church for many years, since 2016, and we've always worked well with the church, adjusted our location to a different side of the parking lot if the church has something going on that Saturday, which precludes us. But we've always worked well. There hasn't been any complaints, and we're requesting the use of the church property again for the farmers market for the next 2 years.
I'll open it up to the group, or actually before I do that, is there any comments from the public on this topic? Please come to the podium and state your name and address.
Brian Shankin, 19600 Ida Center Road, Petersburg, Michigan. I am the trustee chair for Lambertville United Methodist Church. And on behalf of our church, I just want to thank the board for allowing us to partner with the farmers market for such a long period of time. It's been, from our perspective, really been a good outreach program for the community. So we appreciate you guys and ladies allowing us the chance to do that as we partner with people like Goodfellows, who also have good ministries to the community, our food pantry. This is just another opportunity for the church to have a good impact on the community. So we thank you for the things that you've allowed us to do over the years, and we hope that it's something that you as a board continue to feel that it's positive for the community. Thank you.
I believe that's all the public comment we have. So if anyone would like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Support.
All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll open it up for discussions and questions.
I think it's pretty straightforward. It's been an asset to the community for a number of years. There's been no problems. There's been no issues. I don't see why there's really nothing to change at this time.
If everyone on this board pretty much agrees to that, I guess we'll look for a motion, see if someone's got a motion.
I make a motion to grant it.
All right, all we need is
Approval.
a couple of a couple reasons why, and it will be off.
Well, only because it's basically past practice. It has no harm to the community, and the neighbors around there, I know of no complaints, even though I'm not directly in that area. I've read this several times, and according to everything that's in here, I think it would be fair and okay to proceed with it.
All right, do we have support?
I'll support.
All right, any friendly amendments?
Should we just include the parcel number, Phil, and all that? So I'd include the parcel number 5802-029-008-10 or 8165 Douglas Road, Lambertville, Michigan.
The board previously really took a close look at this from a public health, safety, and welfare standpoint to make sure that traffic patterns would be appropriate for the use of that corner, and that both the church and the farmers market would have safeguards in place for public safety. They've done that consistently. To my knowledge, there have been no complaints about traffic movement, traffic patterns, interference with the intersection or with the surrounding community. This does not require a hardship or a practical difficulty. This is pursuant to the ordinance, and this board has the authority to grant the request. Anything else?
With that stated, we've got a motion and we've got support. Call the roll.
Mr. Strick?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Helm?
Aye.
Mr. Lake?
Yes.
Motion carried. Keep
Thank
in
you.
mind, keep in mind the applicant is asking for a 12-month extension, and if the board's desire to is extend that till 2025, then you would need to make a second motion.
Good call. So there is an extension out there then. Any discussion on the extension to make a second motion to extend for 12 additional months?
The ordinance allows you to do that specifically.
I think we should if we feel this is the right thing to do.
I'm fine with it because it's been going on for a number of years since 2016. There's been no issues, no traffic issues. I've worked day shift many Saturdays down here from 16 to 19, and I've passed it numerous times on regular patrol, and there's been no issues whatsoever. I would just keep the same language in place that I think there's something in there, if there is any issues, then you guys would come together and work it out.
So is that a motion?
I'll
to
make a
extend
motion
12
to
months?
extend
Okay. Do we have
till
support?
2025.
I'll support.
Sorry. Okay, we've got a motion, we've got support.
And the only thing we ask is that the applicant submit an additional letter for that following year from the church to make sure that they're still in compliance with what the church requirements and the use is still permitted in the motion.
Sounds like an amendment.
I'm fine with that amendment. You on it?
Okay, Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Helm?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Strick?
Yes.
Mr. Lake?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the next item, which would be the public hearing regarding the appeal of Mr. Fisher at 7026 Elmwood, requesting a plus or minus 6-foot rear yard setback variance. So let's see, we've got here, we've got, actually, we'll see if I get a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
I'd second that.
All in favor, state aye.
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 All right, none opposed. Ms. Rector, if you would.
Yes, the applicant is Richard Fisher, 7026 Elmwood Avenue, Temperance, Michigan, parcel number 5802-430-18100, on a .241 acre R2B single-family residential. The subject property consists of .241 acres, and the applicant is seeking a variance to reconstruct a portion of a nonconforming dwelling and to remove the portion of the covered porch on the existing dwelling. As noted in the submitted letter, once removed, it would limit the living space to 450 square feet. The applicant's desire is to tear down the nonconforming existing portion of the dwelling and reconstruct a rear addition. And he did provide sketches and rendering, and it is included in the packet, bringing the proposed addition into compliance with building code requirements. In doing so, the existing area for the proposed construction encroaches within the required rear yard setback, thus the request of a 6-foot rear yard setback variance. As the entire non-conforming portion of the existing dwelling will be removed, a variance is required to reconstruct within the required rear yard, as no previous variance was ever sought or granted. And we did look back, and the home was built in 1964, and there were no permits showing any changes. Mr. Fisher's purchase of the home in 2021, and upon submitting for a building permit, it was determined the existing dwelling encroached within the rear yard, thus the request to move forward. At this time, no letters or calls of objection have been received. However, the applicant has supplied 3 signatures of no objection to the request, and we included a map of those. Should the variance request be granted, the variances required are a 6-foot rear yard setback, A 6-foot rear yard setback variance to remove and reconstruct an existing addition on a prior legal non-conforming dwelling. And the reason the applicant does have to, for clarification, is that he's removing the entire structure. Should he have left a wall, then he would have not had to sought a variance. He would have just reconstructed what was already there. But however, he wants to remove it to make sure it's up to building code and work with Mr. Kohler. So I will let him speak on that further.
All right, I assume, Mr. Fisher, if you would please come up, state your name and address for the record, and if there's anything you'd like to add.
Richard Fisher, 7026 Elmwood, Temperance, Michigan. And that was pretty much the whole thing right there. I mean, it was done incorrectly. I've lived there a long time. I've tried to remodel it to make it right in the past, but to do it right, I have to tear it down.
Seeing we have no one else in the public, I'm going to assume there are no comments. I'll look for a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
All right, public hearing is closed. Any other questions, discussion?
So practical difficulty, right? In my mind, pretty clear, right? I mean, that I guess financial, right? It seems as if the existing footing, if you were to pull that back in 6 feet, right, you'd have the cost associated with that. I don't know if there's anything else in terms of utilities or otherwise that would be impacted, but
I think
fairly clear.
I think the main thing he wants to do is to level the floors, and then the existing roof system is too short. So that's where, to raise the roof and to raise the floor, he just wants to make it like the house foundation, and to make it more proper.
And if you look at the picture of the aerial, I have it hashed marked where he's looking to remove. The portion closest to the garage is just a covered porch area, I believe. It's not enclosed. And then if you look at the applicant's sketches, you can see where he's aligning the roof line. And that portion that's hashed off is already encroaching from the original home being built in the 35-foot rear yard.
So Dennis, the footprint is really not changing.
Correct, it's staying the same from when he bought it to what he's done. The wall's going to be in the same location. The roof will be higher, and he'll do a reverse gable, but it'll be just properly footered, floored, and roofed.
Okay, and this has existed since 1964, based on your research? And so I would offer that the practical difficulty is that this gentleman wants to comply in all respects with the building code, and in order to do that, he has to tear down the existing structure and erect a structure that is within the exact footprint that exists now, and it will be compliant with the building code. So I think it's a win-win for the township, for public safety, and for Mr. Fisher. So that's what I believe the practical difficulty to be, is to ensure compliance with the building code as it exists today.
So I'd agree with that. I think the other piece, obviously was permitted. It was built in 1964. The current ordinances came into existence in 1976. I've got existing footprint. The square footage would be significantly reduced if you can't use that existing square footage that was already there. And then also, looking to comply with today's building code. I think those are all very valid if someone's ready for a motion.
I'll go ahead and take a stab at it. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we grant Mr. Richard Fisher of 7026 Elmwood Avenue, property number 5802-420-18100, variance of plus or minus 6 foot rear yard setback to reconstruct an existing addition on a prior legal non-conforming dwelling. Practical difficulties including it wouldn't change the existing footprint, and that it would bring the house into code with today's codes versus 1964 codes. And would he also increase property values, I'm assuming?
I second that as stated.
Anything else we need in there, Phil?
No, I think.
Instructor?
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Strict?
Yes.
Mr. Helm?
Aye.
Mr. Lake?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, we'll move on to public comments. Seeing we have no public.
Thank you all.
There's no comments. Move on to board and staff comments.
I have nothing. Thank you for Mr. Strict and Mr. Wilson serving tonight.
Nothing from legal. Everything is fine.
I have nothing.
I have nothing.
I have nothing.
Good to go.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Nothing here.
All right. I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Motion carried.